Gilbert, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Oh, it's good to see you, and I'm excited about our discussion. So, Gilbert, I think a great starting place would be for you to introduce yourself to us. Tell us about your story, and of course, tell us about your company, AbegYa.
Oh, thanks a lot, Tim. So my name is Gilbert Mbeh. I am the founder and CEO of AbegYa, and I have a background in network administration with over 8 years in the information technology service sector. And so I started my entrepreneurship kind of like venture in 2015, where I launched my first company, which was Express Auto Bay. This company was actually meant to create some sort of VIP car booking service where foreigners coming into Africa or into Cameroon more specifically could easily book a car and go through a profile of drivers and actually select the driver that will want to come pick them up and drive them around the city based on the reviews that these drivers have had. So unfortunately, 2 years later, the company failed because of, well, so many things that went wrong and some other challenges for which we weren't prepared at the time. So in 2017, I was selected in the Young African Leadership Initiative program, which was sponsored by the US State Department. And it was an interesting experience during which I got to learn a lot about entrepreneurship, and most specifically entrepreneurship in emerging market. So combining all of this together with the experience I've already had with the previous company and all the challenges that I went through, it kind of like inspired me to start AbegYa. So basically, AbegYa was inspired by challenges familiar to millions of African consumers. And this inefficiency caused when they try to find and secure the services they need. So when we built AbegYa to kind of provide an online directory that empowers users to select service providers and contractors based on crowdsourced reviews. So in building the product, we kind of like incorporated built-in features that allows users to schedule, settle, and review engagement with the providers. So talking about the consumer experience. The consumer experience before AbegYa was such that to find a service provider, you had to walk around the city and collect numbers on basically electric poles and billboards. So what you do is you collect a dozen numbers and you get to call one and each, you get to call all these, say, 10 contractors numbers that you've collected, and hoping that at least one of them will be available, reliable, trustworthy, and most importantly, qualified to perform that service. And so the overall experience, you see, will take about 30 minutes. If you take the time that you leave your home to the street and walk about 3 kilometers collecting numbers, back home and calling all this number, it was a great challenge. So that was actually what inspired us to build AbegYa. And the interesting thing now is that Africa is a completely different place today than it was 20 years ago. The new breed of entrepreneurs have a completely different perspective of the world than did the previous generation of entrepreneurs. And this thanks to the proliferation of the information and communication technology. Today, entrepreneurs can now tell their stories in many ways than was possible 10 or 20 years ago. When if we had to take the solutions we are building today into the context in which Africa was 20 years ago, it would have been very challenging. But today, when I started building AbegYa, in the process, I met Mr. Stephen, who is based in New York, and he provided a great deal of editorial support for us in the process. And this is somebody who is in New York, you know, and I am in Africa building a solution for Africa. And eventually, we working together, AbegYa got selected for the MassChallenge program in Texas, Houston, which is great. The application, we kind of like the whole application process was online. And our experience at MassChallenge, during our experience at MassChallenge, we got to meet some of the global corporate leaders that you never would have imagined to meet. And I was actually able to meet directors from Microsoft, guys from Apple. I mean, like it was like, it was a great hub of knowledge for me, you know. So these are some of the opportunities that the proliferation of information and communication technology is bringing to Africa. And one interesting thing also is that tech in Africa is about real life problem and is triggering a tremendous social and economic development across the continent. You have entrepreneurs now that are coming up with like comic books. I have a group of friends they are now telling the African story, and individual entrepreneurs can now tell their story to the world, something that was basically impossible like 20 years ago. And I strongly believe that investors who are already identifying the endless opportunities in Africa will reap a vast benefit on the new safe investment heaven as Africa asserts leadership on the global map.
Thank you, Gilbert, so much for walking us through your story, a bit about your company, and as you said, providing solutions not only in Cameroon, but for the continent, right? This is a pivotal time, I believe, and it sounds that you believe, for Africa. And I appreciated so much your article on LinkedIn about Africa's participation in the fourth industrial revolution. Tell us about this in fourth industrial revolution. You mentioned that you believe that it favors Africa. How does it favor Africa, Gilbert?
Well, thank you for that question, Tim. So, you know, like three previous industrial revolutions have reshaped the world. The first one was steam power, which was in the 18th century. And the second one kind of like boost mass production. That was in the 19th century. And the third one was electronics boom, which was in the 20th century. The next one, as I believe, is the digital revolution, which gives Africa an edge. The current trend kind of like ushers in groundbreaking products and services. And there is no reason why Africa cannot develop them. And if you look at the African ecosystem today, I mean, let's go back even to the previous revolution. All this happens in Europe and America. And during this time, Africa was kind of like going through a lot of diplomatic tension, pressure, and all this colonial, I mean, like all the colonization process and decolonization and independent. Some of them just had independent, struggling with their independence. So today, access is becoming more important than ownership. And what I mean by this is, I take an example on myself. I have a background in network administration, but I taught myself how to write code and computer programming. And I did this at the cost of a monthly internet data, right? So access to education is becoming real cheaper. Like education has been, I mean, like, you can today, the African entrepreneur today can access all the education they need to develop the skill set they need. Government, if government invest in enough in AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, when you look at blockchain technology, 3D printing, all of these things is now accessible to everyone, which is why I mentioned earlier that access is becoming more important than ownership. And so by leveraging the new technology that automate tasks, skills, Africa can lead a global digital revolution. So that is my perception. The fact that access to these skills has become that cheap makes put Africa in a better position, I mean, to assert leadership in a global digital revolution. And now when you look at the African population, over 30% of the African population is below the age of 20 years old. And in today's Africa, there is a change in narratives from unemployment to access to funding. So we have more and more African youths complaining about difficulties in accessing funding rather than looking for a job. And the signals that sends is that, I mean, that kind of African ecosystem is. We have startups today in Africa raising capital that is even raising much capital than some government actually get in foreign debt. And I think that sends a very strong signal. And with all the solutions that are emerging by the day from entrepreneurs, when you look at the kind of solutions that are being developed today by entrepreneurs in the agricultural sector, in the service sector, in the health sector, I think that sends a strong signal. And in addition to that, Africa has today one of, if not the most vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem in the world. And the only challenge, as I believe, is access to capital. But that too is changing with time as new role models emerge by the day, and as we see so many success stories being played on the on the news and on our screen. I think that is going to significantly change and reposition Africa on the global map.
Yes, how very exciting. And I hope that happens sooner rather than later. And I should say that I'm seeing signs of it happening right now. And as you and I have this discussion, Gilbert, I get excited because I'm hearing from more countries in Africa that so many entrepreneurs are working toward unifying more of the continent, right? More trade, more activity, more access between the various countries within Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, even into MENA region. And so now, you know, you're the expert, you're on the ground, and I have to ask you, what do you believe the African entrepreneurial ecosystem will look like in 2040?
Well, that's an interesting question, and so
what would you like it to look like? How's that? Maybe I'll rephrase the question.
Well, your question is great. I think first thing I want to say is that in 10 years, with the current environment, and with access to adequate funding, we can achieve in 10 years what Africa, I mean, like what we were not able to achieve over the last 50 years. And as experts put it, Africa by 2040 will attain a significant level of self-sustained industrialization and transformation in the agricultural and service sectors. And I believe that access to healthcare will be, by then, will be as easy as clicking on our messaging app. And with all this emerging technology, competitiveness will, I believe competitiveness will improve affordability and quality. And really, to me, the fourth industrial revolution is improve productivity. And in our case scenario, for instance, I believe that AbegYa certainly improves it on a micro and macro level. On the microeconomic level, it helps individuals find providers they need, and helps individual providers find consumers and get jobs done more efficiently with accountability. And when we talk accountability, it means more appropriate use of resources, because without lack of accountability lead to waste of resources. And as technology increasingly impose accountability, there will be a better management of resources. And similarly, on a macro level, AbegYa boosts overall productivity by channeling work to the most reliable and accountable providers. And so at the end of the day, the best providers are rewarded, and their values set standard, and it's the overall society that benefits. And this whole process, I believe, pays economic dividend to all. So I am a strong believer with conviction that there is always a high impact alternative to the status quo. No, so, and with with the speed at which technology is triggering social and economic development in small business growth, civic associations, social services, and government investment of time and resources. And we have many local NGOs easily getting into partnership with European and American institution. All this process is taking Africa somewhere. And the fact that us entrepreneurs can tell a story means a lot. The fact that I can have an interview, I can have this interview with you, and you being able to share this interview with millions of other people, it sends a signal that something is changing and that we are going somewhere. All these things were not possible 20 years ago. And that if it is possible now, I believe that a lot by 2040, Africa will be a completely different place and an attractive one.
Yes, I would offer even more attractive. It already is an attractive place, and so many good things are happening. And I hope, Gilbert, that some of the important players in the ecosystem, including the government, will work hard to bolster your fantastic activity, not hinder it.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Thanks a lot. Well, I think at the end of the day, we have to work. It's collaboration. A single entrepreneur cannot transform an ecosystem by himself, or even all the entrepreneurs put together across Africa cannot transform the African ecosystem without the support of the government. So in this overall process, we will have to work in partnership with the various government, and we will keep making proposals to the governments, and we will keep innovating, and we will keep doing the best we can do to drive the change and to innovate and change lives and provide opportunity for all. And that is what we are good at, and that is what we will continue doing. And it's not an individual mission. It's us as a society. We have the obligation to do that, to leave a better world to our children than the one we found.
Yes, absolutely. And that is a universal truth across the globe, right, Gilbert? So my hope is, again, that you guys will crush the target, right, as a continent. Instead of 2040, maybe it'll be all in place by, let's say, 2030. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, sure. That is a possibility. I mean, like, we can do this. We are already doing it. We are already doing it. And I believe we can do this. And I mean, like, it's good that like all what has happened, the infrastructure that is in place now, I mean, like, in terms of technological innovation, gives us the possibility to do that. And I believe we will do it.
Well, I do as well, and it'll be fun to watch it happen. So we'll have to stay in touch and keep our discussion open. Gilbert, it's been a pleasure to speak with you today. You've taught me, and I'm sure our viewers, very much, and we're all rooting for you.
Thanks a lot, Tim. And I promise you that we will continue to be at the forefront of innovation and to make life as simple and as easy as possible for consumers across Africa, because that is what we are about and that is what we stand for.
Well, thank you again, Gilbert. It's a pleasure to see you and speak with you today. And again, thank you. And I look forward to our next discussion.
Thanks a lot, Tim. It was an honor for me.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.